I would like to bring up a corporate Democrat named Kirsten Gillibrand. Kirsten Gillibrand, the fine senator from New York. Kirsten Gillibrand, she took the no corporate PAC money pledge along with Cory Booker and Kamala Harris, as I like to call them, the Johnny-come-lately progressives. They're now suddenly seeing the light when Bernie Sanders has been saying this for ever and ever and ever and ever. So Kirsten Gillibrand, made this big thing about seeing the light when it comes to not taking corporate PAC money. But unfortunately, I guess Kirsten Gillibrand forgot like the minor little detail that it's not just not taking corporate PAC money. We want politicians, we want senators, we want congresspeople that are not going to be in bed with the financial institution, that are not going to be in bed with the oligarchy, that are not going to be in bed with Wall Street executives. And unfortunately, Kirsten Gillibrand, well, she missed the memo. So, what do you know? Kirsten Gillibrand is making phone calls to Wall Street executives to see if they would back her 2020 campaign. Oh, so you're not taking corporate PAC money, you're saying no to Wall Street, but, you're dialing for dollars to see if they'll back you. This is Kirsten Gillibrand, the New York senator who has taken a hell of a lot of money from Wall Street over her career. Senator Kirsten Gillibrand is reaching out to Wall Street executives to gauge potential support if she were to run for president in 2020, CNBC has learned. Gillibrand has personally been working the phones and calling senior executives at Wall Street firms in recent weeks to see whether they would back her campaign if she jumps into the race. According to two senior business leaders who spoke on the condition of anonymity, I always get that word wrong, anonymity. Donors in the financial community helped back Gillibrand's successful re-election bid in 2018. Her effort to connect with business leaders this time comes as she contemplates entering what will likely be an expensive and protracted Democratic primary. Gillibrand has gotten a mixed response from the executives, however. Some have enthusiastically kept the door open to helping her finance her potential 2020 operation, while others are hesitant to return her calls. A few business leaders and other Democratic Party donors have been privately critical of Gillibrand's early efforts to force the resignation of Senator Al Franken of Minnesota, according to one of the sources familiar with the discussions. Gillibrand was the first Democratic senator to publicly call for Franken, a fellow Democrat, to resign after he was accused of sexual harassment by multiple women in 2017. Quote, while Senator Franken is entitled to have the Ethics Committee conclude its review, I believe it would be better for our country if he sent a clear message that any kind of mistreatment of women in our society isn't acceptable by stepping aside to let someone else serve, she said at the time. Franken supporters in the business community argue Gillibrand should have allowed the eventual Senate Ethics Committee investigation to conclude before rushing to demand the resignation of the Minnesota lawmaker. They also believe he was a champion for women during this time. And they also like that Al Franken pushed for plenty of goodies for Wall Street. Even though Gillibrand has received donations from Wall Street, she has pushed for tightening regulations in the financial industry. She voted in support of the Dodd-Frank Wall Street Reform and Consumer Protection Act. So, of course, CNBC leaves out just a few details. They leave out just a tiny few bit of details. Is that shocking to you that CNBC's leaving out the details? Kirsten Gillibrand, who signed the No Corporate PAC pledge, and that's why these folks signing the No Corporate PAC pledge, you gotta go back and look at their record. And you also have to see what are they doing while they signed the No Corporate PAC pledge. So, here's the deal. Kirsten Gillibrand has taken gobbles and gobbles and gobbles of money from Wall Street. In her career from 2005 to 2018, she has taken $7.5 million from financial lawyers. When you see that lawyers and law firms category, That is majority lawyers that represent finance and Wall Street. That's what that category means. So $7.5 million from essentially financial lawyers. Those aren't ACLU lawyers donating to her. Those are attorneys that represent big financial institutions. She's taken $4.8 million from Wall Street. You got $2 million, $2.6 million from women's issues. A lot of that is Emily's List, who is against Medicare for All. She's taken $2.2 million from big real estate developers who have done a hell of a good job of, not a good job, but a hell of a job on gentrifying New York City and pushing poor black and poor people out of New York City. So this is a murderer's row of money she's taken from big financial. So the fact that she's now suddenly late in the game, I'm not taking corporate PAC money, doesn't change these numbers, unfortunately. Then you have the rest of the list. She's taken $1.2 million from business services, whatever the hell that means. $1 million from lobbyists. $917,000 from health professionals, which are a lot of medical professionals, insurance companies, miscellaneous financial, $925,000, whatever the hell that means. Insurance industry, $832,000. She has taken a lot of money from Wall Street and allies of Wall Street. So just like Beto O'Rourke took the no fossil fuel money pledge, but then was doing lobbyists. He was doing fundraisers with lobbyists, which I showed you. He was also taking money from individuals, including fossil fuel executives. By the way, Kamala Harris, who took the no corporate PAC pledge. Sorry to do this, Kamala, but got to tell the truth. Guess who was meeting with Hillary Clinton's top donors in the Hamptons in 2017? Kamala Harris. The Hamptons are where the rich go, folks. The Hamptons are where Clinton and Obama's donors and the Republican Party's donors go. The Democrats' great freshman hope, Senator Kamala Harris, is heading to the Hamptons to meet with Hillary Clinton's biggest backers. I don't think they're meeting for Long Island iced teas, folks. Maybe they had some Long Island iced teas. They're also meeting because she wants their money, honey, in 2020. And by the way, Joe Biden meets with these people. It's not just Kamala Harris, it's all of them. The California senator is being feted in Bridgehampton on Saturday at the home of MWWPR guru Michael Kempner, a staunch Clinton supporter, who was one of her national finance co-chairs on a led a fundraiser for her 2008 bid for the presidency. He was also listed as one of the top bundlers for Barack Obama's 2012 re-election campaign, having raised $3 million. Guests there to meet Harris are expected to include Margot Alexander, a member of Clinton's inner circle, Dennis Mahil, a Democratic donor who is the chairman of the Battery Park City Authority, even though he lives between a sprawling Westchester estate and an Upper East Side pad, designer Stephen Gambrell, and Democratic National Committee member Robert Zimmerman. Washington lobbyist Liz Robbins is also hosting a separate Hamptons lunch for Harris. I don't know, folks. That doesn't exactly scream, I'm not taking corporate PAC money, but I'm not going to be in bed with the corporations destroying the middle class. What do you think? We have Kirsten Gillibrand, who is the New York senator, taking gobbles and gobbles of money from Wall Street. Then she signs a no corporate PAC pledge, and now she's suddenly a progressive darling. Well, Kirsten Gillibrand, David Sirota seems to be in every scrum these days. So Sirota pointed this out. First, Gillibrand. After David Sirota tweeted out the story I just read from you that Kirsten Gillibrand is basically dialing for dollars and trying to get Wall Street to back her campaign, which obviously she doesn't understand the progressive movement if she thinks that's going to get her elected president. Here she says, what's important are the facts of my record. Co-sponsor of the financial transaction tax. Support reinstating a new Glass-Steagall Act. Voted against the bank bailout twice, all while representing New York. And Sirota, always on top of it. Senator Gillibrand is totally fair in her response to me. She notes she cast some votes challenging Wall Street, but she also helped the GOP kill Democrats' key bill to regulate the backs. I'm glad the senator engages with folks asking questions. Well, what he's talking about there is there was Senator Sherrod Brown, and here it is from 2010. Senator Sherrod Brown proposed an amendment U.S. Senator Sherrod Brown and Ted Kaufman introduced an amendment to Wall Street reform legislation that would change the size, leveraging, and capital requirement standards of megabanks in order to prevent financial institutions from becoming, quote, too big to fail. The amendments co-sponsored by Senator Bob Casey, Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, Senator Jeff Merkley, Senator Tom Harkin, and Senator Bernie Sanders, and Senator Roland Burris will make common sense changes to limit the size and exposure of financial institutions and ensure that when banks take financial gambles, they have the resources to cover the potential losses. And this is the whole game, folks. Too big to fail is the game. This is why we have banks basically playing, casino roulette with your money. And essentially, when it goes belly up in debt, the housing crash, frankly, they're doing the same thing with student loans right now. What happens? You're left holding the bag, and you lose the money.